Welcome to another audio. This one is going to be on conflicting states. So, this could be where something like what I notice is a real common one is I want to be rich, but rich people are evil. I want to lose weight, but I can't live without pasta. So, whatever your conflicting state is, I want to be in shape, but I hate exercising. So, that'd probably be my favorite. Um, so take a moment to kind of think about what kind of conflicting states do you have? If there's something you really want, but this other thing seems to be in the way of that. And then I'm going to go ahead and shut my camera off as we go right into the audio. States. It's also a special audio that was requested by one of the viewers or listeners. I know when one person brings a topic to me, it means that others are having the same issue. And let's get started. My disclaimer: I am not a lawyer, medical doctor, therapist, or counselor, and I offer no advice. Any resources provided on my live streams, audios, calls, or websites are for educational purposes only. Unlocking Resilience takes no responsibility for the use or misuse of any resources that are provided. You, as the listener and the consumer of these resources, take full responsibility for your mental health choices and behavior. Listening to this replay gives me the permission to work with your superconsciousness. Bring in your awareness to how are you feeling in this moment. Bring in your attention inward. You might bring a hand to your heart if that feels good. And I will speak to your superconsciousness. Superconscious, please remind all available parts and any that awaken during this process that getting more satisfaction and having less pain is the main reason for treatment and integrating parts. Superconscious can treat and heal trauma parts, and it does this by removing the negative emotion and pain from the trauma and replacing it with neutral or positive emotions. The treatment process strengthens the positive coping skills with positive emotions before joining them with the main personality. It's important to know that parts do not die, they do not lose information. Parts, once treated, simply exchange information with the main personality. So your memory becomes exactly the same as the main personality's memory, and you can run the body at the same time without conflict. Parts will no longer lose time, information is no longer blocked, and all parts must agree before treatment is applied. Superconscious will treat a few units, then pause until you've stabilized again before treating more. Superconscious makes this a gentle and painless process. Treat rest until all of the emotional pain associated with the part during the trauma is relieved and positive emotions are in its place. Please bring all the parts into the most perfect structure to be treated one by one. Superconscious, please treat the parts that want to be treated safely and with total respect. Treating anything from the last session until now when it is the most appropriate during today's session. We're going to go on a journey. We're going to be removing resistance. Resistance is a double-edged sword, two sides of the same coin. The come here, go away energy, or the love-hate response. That which we resist persists is a true statement. Resistance and fear can get you started in one direction. However, it also then becomes your magnetic field that holds you stuck where you don't want to be. You give all your power to it. Let's say you're wanting to start a business because you don't want a job. You will find that the power is in the job because it is what you are resisting the most. We humans put a lot of resistance into things we don't want, and this just pulls it to us. The power that creates your motivation was, I don't want a job. Therefore, that is what has all the power. If you start a relationship because you don't want to be single, all the power is in being single. That's where the energy is. That is where you are putting all of your focus. And this puts a lot of energy into the very thing you say you don't want. I want to prevent this. Therefore, when you get further away from the not being single or not having a job, you suddenly feel unmotivated because you don't have the powerful negative motivating force anymore. Because you actually solved the problem. So what happens, you create a business that looks kind of like a job so that you can create the power again to move away from the business that now feels like a job. And the relationship that you started so you wouldn't be single, you find yourself very lonely in a relationship or constantly in the wrong relationship because it loses steam because it was chosen to avoid pain, not because you chose it just to have it. So the truth is, we must realize that we don't need to not want something in order to not have it. Nothing bad has to happen for something good to happen in your life. If you could be completely fine having a job and you could still have a successful business. If you could be completely fine with being single and have a loving relationship because that's your choice. So what you want to do is collapse the resistance, the conflicting beliefs. We want to get rid of the friction points. We want to collapse the things that you're moving away from. And the way that we do that is to actually allow ourselves to truly want what we don't want. I know it sounds counterintuitive. Stay with me and we'll see how you feel at the end of the session. Now, a few things before we do this, before we take this journey. A lot of people struggle with this. They think that if they want what they don't want, they're telling the universe it should happen. So the confusion is thinking that your thoughts create reality. Thoughts do not create reality. If thoughts created reality, we would have a crazy reality. Imagine if every human being's thoughts created reality. Imagine every 15-year-old girl or boy internal thoughts, their internal dialogue, created reality. It would be crazy. Thoughts turned into emotions that's consistently held when turned into action creates reality. We all have thoughts we never act on, and they just stay thoughts. It's totally fine to have a thought and know that it won't create reality. So we need to collapse or neutralize both sides of the equation. The stuff you want and the stuff you don't want. So just desiring to have a relationship because you want to have a relationship has power. If you could be just as fine being single, that has power. But wanting a relationship because you're trying to get away from something else you don't want is how the friction is created. As you get to a place of neutrality around your desires, then there's no power outside of you. Nothing will be pushing or pulling on you in the state of neutrality. This is what keeps most people stuck. This is going to challenge you the first few times you do it, and it gets easier and easier as you come to the clarity of neutrality and choice. Let this be a simple journey. Be curious. Let go of trying to make something happen. It can be used anytime you have two opposing sides to a desire. So go ahead and close your eyes if they aren't already closed. Take a few deep breaths and just relax into your body and go inside. And as you go inside, just feel into this moment and just be here with yourself as you are, here and now. I'd like you to bring up that thing that you are resisting and don't want to happen. I want you to think about it. Notice how you don't want it to happen. Notice how this isn't what you'd like at all. And as you're noticing these things, which are completely true, could you also notice that there's a couple of things that might be all right about it? I'm going to use the example of money to help solidify this neutralization process in your unconscious mind. Think about the next question. Would it be all right if you were bankrupt? You would then have some free time to recalibrate both sides of the same coin. Continue to see both sides of this situation while I speak to your superconsciousness. Superconscious, please treat this duality, this I want and don't want scenario that keeps me stuck where I am at. Please treat all parts, predispositions, and complex structures that prevent me from making a clear decision to move my life towards my heart's desires. Do a parallel side-by-side session on what I want and what I don't want until a state of neutrality is reached and is 100% true in the main personality. Treat all beliefs, emotions, events, situations, conditionings, holding both in place. Once fully treated, then replace all treated disempowering elements with positive self-empowering elements, aligned with my true heart's desires. Please treat all heart memories, reinforcing all positive elements and solution-oriented action steps, and then do a massive history change and everything after that. Breathing and noticing. And we're going to practice a few more. So let's focus on a job. Maybe you don't want a job, but would it be all right if you had a job you enjoyed? If you had a good place to work, would that be all right? Continue to see both sides of the situation as I speak to your superconsciousness. Again, superconsciousness, please treat this duality. This duality of having a job I don't like, but yet I still get paid. Please treat this I want and don't want scenario that keeps me stuck where I am at. Please treat all parts, predispositions, and complex structures that prevent me from making a clear decision to move forward in my life towards my heart's desires. Again, do a parallel side-by-side session on what I want and don't want until a state of neutrality is reached and is 100% true in the main personality. Treat all beliefs, emotions, events, situations, conditionings, holding both of these in place. Once fully treated, then replace all treated disempowering elements with positive self-empowering elements, aligned with my true heart's desires. Please treat all heart memories, reinforcing all positive elements and solution-oriented action steps. And then do a massive history change and everything after that. And now we're going to focus on wanting a relationship, or maybe you want a better relationship. Part of you really wants to be in a relationship, yet would it be nice to be single? There's some nice things about it. You don't have to answer to anyone, and you can do your own thing. Maybe you want a better relationship, but how would you need to change for that to happen? Again, continue focusing on both sides with curiosity while I speak to your superconscious. Superconscious, please treat this duality, this I want and don't want scenario that is keeping me stuck where I am at. Please treat all parts, predispositions, and complex structures that prevent me from making a clear decision to move my life towards my heart's desires. Do a parallel side-by-side session on what I want and what I don't want until a state of neutrality is reached, until they feel the same. And it is 100% true in the main personality. Please treat all beliefs, emotions, events, situations, conditioning that's holding both of these in place. And as all of this falls away, treat all of those elements also. Once fully treated, then replace all treated disempowering elements with positive self-empowering elements aligned with my true heart's desires. Please treat all heart memories, reinforcing all positive elements and solution-oriented steps. And then do a massive history change and everything after that. Continue breathing and noticing. And then how about if we focus on eating healthy? We all want to do more of that. Yet isn't it nice sometimes to eat junk food and not worry about food all the time? And again, focus on both sides of this. Eating healthy, the benefits, but it's kind of hard. It takes a lot of time to cook. And then focusing on how fun it is to eat junk food, but that's not always the best for your health. Continue looking at both sides. And I will speak to your superconsciousness. Superconscious, please treat this duality, this I want and don't want scenario that is keeping me stuck where I'm at. Please treat all parts, predispositions, and complex structures that prevent me from making a clear decision to move my life towards my heart's desires. Do a parallel side-by-side session on what I want and don't want until a state of neutrality is reached. It is 100% true of the main personality. Please treat all beliefs, emotions, events, situations, conditionings that are holding both of these in place, preventing a third option from being clear. Please treat all heart memories, reinforcing all positive elements and solution-oriented action steps. And then do a massive history change and everything after that, breathing and noticing. I just want you to notice if you can. I just want you to poke a couple holes in the old way of thinking. And just notice that everything has two sides. Encourage yourself to notice the constant push-pull of life. And today we are letting go of that. Not saying that bad things will happen if we focus on them. We just want to notice that there's always two sides to every desire. And it's our pulling in what we want and pushing away what we don't want that keeps us stuck and not getting what we want out of life. Just notice that a couple of things that can be quite positive about things we say we don't want. And just notice a few things that are negative in the things we do want. That's the secret sauce. And as you notice this duality, just feel okay about it. Just feel good about it. Because now you know. Being able to think, what if my life is actually all right just the way it is? I know this is a challenge for most people right now to think this way. That I no longer have resistance to my life as it is right now. So take a moment and pick the biggest thing you have resistance to in your life right now. The thing you have spent years trying to get away from. Can you see both sides of it? How is having this pattern protecting you? And again, look at both sides with curiosity while I speak to your superconscious. Superconscious, please treat this duality, this I want and don't want scenario that is keeping me stuck where I am at. Please treat all parts, predispositions, and complex structures that prevent me from making a clear decision to move my life towards my heart's desires. Do a parallel side-by-side session on what I want and don't want until a state of neutrality is reached. And it is 100% true in the main personality. Treat all beliefs, emotions, events, situations, conditioning that's holding both of these in place. Once fully treated, then replace all treated disempowering elements with positive self-empowering elements aligned with my true heart's desires. Please treat all heart memories, reinforcing all positive elements, and solution-oriented action steps. And then do a massive history change and everything after that. Continue breathing and noticing. And now let's switch to the thing that you truly desire. The opposite side of the coin. Let's say you want to have a successful business, be in a great relationship, spend lots of time doing what you want. Notice the things that you truly do desire. And as you truly desire this, I'd like you to notice a couple of things that would be less than positive. So I've got my own business, but think about the stress you might have with that business. Oh yeah, it would be great to make all that extra money and to travel the world, but airports can be a challenge. I want you to notice a couple of things that aren't so good about what it is you desire. Oh, it would be so good to spend time on a hobby, but just notice you don't have all that free time because you're running a business. And it would also be just great to be in a great relationship, but notice a few things that aren't so positive about it. Focus on some of the things that aren't so positive about being in a relationship. You need to consider others and your choices. Maybe they don't like the same music or food. Remember, it's okay to feel both sides. You're not going to create this reality just because you're thinking about it. Now think about the thing you desire most. That if you had it right now, it would solve all of your problems. How does this make you feel? To have the thing that you believe will solve all your problems. And be brave enough to see that it could also create some new challenges for you. What could those new challenges be? Hold both of these in mind. while I speak to your superconsciousness. This superconsciousness, again, please treat this duality, this I want and don't want scenario that is keeping me stuck where I am. Please treat all the parts, predispositions, and complex structures that prevent me from making a clear decision to move my life towards my heart's desires. Do a parallel side-by-side session on what I want and don't want until a state of neutrality is reached and is 100% true in the main personality. Treat all beliefs, emotions, events, situations, conditioning that's holding both of these in place. Once fully treated, then replace all treated disempowering elements with positive self-empowering elements aligned with my true heart's desires. Please treat all heart memories, reinforcing all positive elements and solution-oriented action steps, and then do a massive history change and everything after that. And can you get to a place that you know that you would be okay if either actually happened? When you get to that place, you trust that you can handle life no matter what is going on. Then you can just choose and start to take action on your choice without all the extra push-pull energies holding you back. Life transforms. And I want you to just go back and forth. Notice one you don't desire to create, and just notice how it feels. It feels not too bad. Or it may feel less intense. Or maybe you forgot all about it. It's all right. Maybe you don't get to spend as much time on a hobby. That's all right. You know that happens. You have other cool things happening in your life. Maybe you were single, but that's all right. You get to have some freedom. You get to look after yourself. Maybe you're in a job. That's all right. You're able to clock in and clock out. You're still making money. That's all right. Then notice the things you do want. Maybe you want to spend more time on a hobby. That's fantastic. That's going to be awesome, but notice the few things that you might miss out on. Maybe you can't have that much freedom. You want to have a successful business, but think about all the commitments that are involved. And that's all right. And maybe you want to be in that relationship. Or maybe you're single. Both are all right. And just keep going back and forth until you notice that both feel about the same. Now I want you to experience both of them in one reality. Put each one in a separate bubble out in front of you. And once they're in those bubbles, overlap all of the bubbles. It's all one big bubble, one big experience. Experience both, the thing you desire and the thing you don't desire, at the same time. And I want to ask you, how does that feel? Can you notice that in both circumstances, there's positives and negatives? The truth is that it doesn't matter which one you go to. You will be all right. What would it be like to equally desire both experiences? Again, what would it be like to desire both experiences? There's no resistance. What would that feel like? The lack of resistance to either one. The lack of the push-pull. The running away from life energy goes away. This is neutrality. And this is where true choice comes in. This is a powerful state to be in. Go ahead and take a moment and feel that state right now. Feel what it would be like. I know for you this could be a new way of being. It's okay, you can do this. Bad things are not going to manifest just because you're choosing it. So right now, just decide to feel both of them with equal desire. Equal desire having a business and having a job. Equal desire in a relationship and not in a relationship. Equal desire for having enough money and not having enough money. Equally desire it. Continue to hold this force, this sameness of the situations while I speak to your superconsciousness. Superconscious, please treat and reinforce the sameness, this state of neutrality. This I want and don't want scenario that keeps me stuck where I am at. Please treat all parts, predispositions, and complex structures that prevent me from making a clear decision to move my life towards my heart's desires. Again, do a parallel side-by-side session on what I want and don't want until a state of neutrality is reached and is 100% true in the main personality. Then replace all treated elements with positive self-empowering elements aligned with my true heart's desires. Please treat all heart memories, reinforcing all positive elements and solution-oriented action steps. And then do a massive history change and everything after that. Breathing and noticing. And now that you're there, well done. Keeping your eyes closed. Now that you equally desire both, go ahead and choose the reality that you're really looking for. However, choose it from a place where you could have it be either way and it wouldn't matter. Choose from a place where you're not choosing it to get away from something else. Just choose it because you're choosing it, not because you're afraid of something else if you don't choose it. Just decide what you'd prefer out of the two opposing options, which both are fine. They're both livable and doable. So go ahead and choose the one you want right now. And how does that make you feel to live that life? What's it like? What things do you have? Who do you have? What are you doing? How does it feel to make this choice from a place of neutrality and not fear or resistance? You're choosing it. You've decided it. Decide this is the one you're going to have from all available options. And focus on that while I speak to your superconscious. Superconscious, please treat this new experience, this new choice. Please reinforce all positive self-empowering feelings and emotions, all positive elements of this new creation until it's 100% true in the active experience. Please continue to treat any contradicting energies, any push-pull energies. Please treat any running away from life energies. Please treat any disempowering elements and replace them all with self-empowering elements and replace them all with positive self-empowering elements. Please reinforce and magnify all positive self-empowering feelings, emotions, thoughts, mind movies that are active in the active experience. And when appropriate, do a massive history change and everything after that. Now that you've decided it, I want you to see yourself living this experience through your own eyes. Put a big smile on your face. You have made this decision. Where are you going to be in 3 months from now? Make that decision. What's life going to be like a year from now? Make that decision. Breathing and noticing, asking yourself, what do I need to do today to move me towards my choice? Because as you move towards your desires can begin to move towards you. Your desires just don't show up on your front porch. And if they did, you'd still have to open the door and let it in. Superconscious, please begin the closing procedure, treating all parts of the body's physiology and anything else that is available for treatment at this point. And then do a complete massive history change and everything after that. Please anchor all of this into memories 1, 2, and 3, tandem memories, shadow memories, and ego states, and ground everything that we have touched today into the matrix of the universe. In between now and the next session, treat anything in a neutral way and replace it with self-empowering thoughts, beliefs, and coping mechanisms. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes feeling great, feeling like you've made a decision, feeling like you're creating for creation's sake, because you are a creator. Take a moment to write down any information that is flowing through you and available to you about the action steps you can take to move you in the correct direction. And with your permission, I will close the session. And how was that for you? Again, it's always a good time to journal afterwards if you got any information, any insights, any aha moments. Again, you can leave me a comment on how your experience was with this audio. And of course, if there's any other audios you need, let me know so I can get them uploaded for you. And keep in mind, anytime we have something where there's a rub where we want this, but we think that stands in the way, this is a great audio to listen to neutralize the friction between the two. Because when we can get to a true state of neutrality, no matter what our choices are, then it truly becomes a choice. And that's how we can actually start to create a life we love.